Welcome back to Biology from Jay's house. So today we are going to be talking about the immune system, and we've already talked about how the immune system keeps us healthy. So this is just going to be a quick overview video talking about primarily how we get sick, and then we'll get into how the immune system fights that. So first thing we have to remember is that our body is made of cells. That's right. So there's my little cell right there, and that cell needs three things. It needs some nutrients, it needs some water, and it needs some oxygen. And as long as it gets those things, that cell is going to be pretty happy. That's going to be a happy cell as long as we can give it those three things. Yay, look at the happy cell. Now, the things it doesn't want are disease. And disease comes in two different flavors. One is living, and that's called bacteria. Now, there's good bacteria too. There's bacteria in our body that 100% need. So in this unit, when we are talking about the immune system, and I talk about bacteria, I'm only talking about bad bacteria, bacteria that gets us sick, that shouldn't be in our body. So when I say bacteria, I actually mean bad bacteria, even though there's tons of bacteria in our body that's super good and makes us really healthy. So we have one way of getting sick is bacteria. And that's going to affect our cells. And the other way of getting sick is virus. So I have a little thing that's supposed to make you think of a computer virus. So the virus is the other way of getting sick. Put that down, and that's going to affect our cells somehow too. Now, the most important aspect of bacteria versus virus is it living? Because bacteria, as we know, are called prokaryotic cells, and they are living. And that means that bacteria also need nutrients. Bacteria also need water. Bacteria also need oxygen. Right? In order to stay alive. Now let's look at viruses. They are non-living, not dead, non-living. Right? There's a difference. So they don't need nutrients. They don't need water. They don't need air. They don't need anything. They are non-living. So two things we need to realize is one way to fight bacteria is, don't give it nutrients, don't give it water, don't give it air, and it'll die. That's not going to work with viruses. So that's one thing that we need to note between bacteria and viruses. And the other thing is, how do they get us sick? So now I want to talk about how they get us sick. Well, bacteria, when they get us sick, usually what they do is they come in and they steal the nutrients. Or they steal the water. Or they steal the air. And now how's our cell doing? So bacteria primarily get us sick by just getting in the way of our cells functioning. That's it. They don't actually directly hurt our cells often. They just kind of steal from our cells so that our cells then die. So let's reset and let's write that down for bacteria. So bacteria steal, and I'm just going to write nutrients, water, and oxygen. So the way they get us sick is they don't actually hurt our cells. They're just thieves. They just steal the stuff that our body needs. That is very different from virus. There's no reason the virus would steal nutrients, water, or air because the virus is non-living. So then how does the virus get us sick? It is terrible, actually. The virus actually goes in, and just like a computer program, it reprograms the cell. And now it converts the cell into an evil copier machine. And now this cell, whatever it was doing, if it was in your stomach, it was doing stomach stuff. If it was in your brain, it was doing brain stuff. Whatever cell that was, now all it does is copy the virus. Poof. poof, 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 and then the cell dies. So viruses actually, one, kill our cells directly. They actually infect our cells. They make copies of itself. Poof, poof, poof. What? Whoops. Grabbed the wrong pile. They make copies of themselves and then they kill the cell. And now these can go off and infect other cells. So how do they get us sick? They copy themselves and then kill cells. So if we reset from all that terribleness, go back to our cell, you can see that the way bacteria and viruses attack us is incredibly different, right? So there's probably going to be some similarities on how we fight bacteria and how we fight viruses, but there's also going to be probably some real differences. And worth pointing out, the way viruses replicate is they infect a cell and force the cell to make them. The way bacteria replicates is the exact same way we do, which is one bacteria, if it gets enough nutrients, water, and oxygen, bloop, becomes two bacteria. And then those two bacteria, if they get enough nutrients, water, and oxygen, bloop, become four bacteria. So these guys replicate on their own. Viruses require a healthy cell in order to replicate. Now, that's all I wanted to talk about today. That will prepare us for how do we fight bacteria? How do we fight viruses? And then, of course, we'll go into what COVID-19 and that kind of stuff does later on. So that is your introduction to the immune system, and I'll see you tomorrow for more immune system fun.